All right, so here we are again. This time we're on the New Player Podcast, and we get to talk today with Curiel. Curiel is a returning guest host to the show, chronic masturbator. Curiel, say hi.
I can't use my hands right now.
Fair enough. And then, as always, we like to try and bring on a special guest, and this week we have somebody that's super special, in my opinion. He's from Reality Skewed Gamers. They have a YouTube channel. It's going to be linked down in the description. He's providing content for all of you guys on a weekly basis, and he also has his own YouTube channel, which we're also going to be putting in the description. We have GrandePatrone joining us.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here. Curiel, Mad Dad.
Yeah.
Great. So basically, we're going to just go ahead and start jumping into things right away. But usually we like to kick off the show and kind of talk about our weeks in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So Grande is our new guest. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about your week?
Okay, so this week was fun. We had Dark Side Territory battles. Pretty excited about that. Had a couple little hiccups in the beginning, I think. A couple little hiccups maybe as it went along, but I felt like it was fun to have a challenge. And just got done with our first day of our first round, rather, of Territory Wars. And big shout out to my guild, Dark Lords. We did really well. Had a lot of fun. Met some new friends. Super excited about that. And we had a lot of great participation. So we were very pumped about that. And just been kind of playing my game like normal, having a great time.
Sweet.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Did you want me to go?
Oh yeah, no, totally. That's exactly where I was going to lead it to.
Yeah, I'm super excited because I just hit a couple of benchmarks. I got it to 60, so I finally get to hop into a TIE fighter and shoot down the Rebel scum. So
Nice.
that was awesome. Yeah, totally excited about that. Yeah, and it's really nice because I lucked out. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Sharded out a.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
That's a new. I like it though. Let's roll with it.
No, the Bronzium data card.
Yeah. What did it shard out this time for you?
Sharded out a Biggs.
It sharded out of Biggs.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Proud owner of a sharded out
He
Biggs.
was a baby boy.
It was
The sad thing is I know what you're trying to say, and I don't really know how to depict it better.
I'm super excited. I'm very happy for you that you're sharded. That you're now
Yeah.
sharded. You're fully.
Yeah, it was amazing. And so
Lucky pull though. Seriously.
I found it was super lucky because like I went from 3,000. They started me out at 3,000 in the fleet battles.
Yeah.
And I went to like top 200 in I think it was like 5 battles.
Nice.
It was just insane because like Biggs, if nobody's prepared for him in the shard, it's just ridiculous. He just goes right through.
I still use him on my starting lineup. So absolutely, it's a great piece. You'll be using it for a very long time.
Yeah. So totally excited. And then so that milestone happened, and then so I am almost 7 stars on my Phoenix squad. I know the new player experience. We're kind of the keystone of the new player experience is the Phoenix shard. So clocking it out, we're looking at it. It takes about for a free-to-play player. It's going to take you a little over a month to be 7-star on that complete Phoenix squad. Chopper minus Sabine. So all 5 of those. It's probably gonna take me another week before I'm 7-starred on them. So yeah, it's going pretty well. So top 30 on Squad Arena, top 30 on Fleet Arena. So
nice.
Far. Yeah.
And you're running that Phoenix team then, the one that you just said. You're running that in Arena right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
So they're.
I kind of thought that might be the case for a newer player.
It works out so well because there's so many resources you can grab that are varied. Mm-hmm. So because obviously a free-to-play player, my resource pool is a lot smaller, and
Absolutely.
it has to be laser focused.
Absolutely.
And so I am absolutely laser focused on them. So they're basically always ready for gear, always gold crossed, ready for gear. Yeah, and the only thing I'm running into is money.
Yes.
Chris, we talked about this in the first thing, and I think we may have misspoke. I'm running into money
Yeah.
because it's
So
500K now
so
to
in
get
the
them up.
so in the beginning, you were out of training droids and you had plenty of money. And
Yep.
then at some point it flipped and you went from having plenty of money and not enough training droids to the other way around. And it happened somewhere around 55, maybe
Yeah.
60, right?
Yeah, well, I ran out of money probably about a week ago.
Okay.
Well, let's
That
be
was about
honest. It was pretty
58.
much the introduction of mods, right? Because when you started having to gear up those mods to 15,
Yes.
it breaks the bank, right?
It totally took me out. And so as a caveat, right? As a caveat, you don't have to break the bank, but I don't think I would be tier 8 in the arena if I didn't go 15 levels on my mods. I mean, because every 5-point mod I got, if it was blue or purple, I just dumped the 500K into it.
Okay.
You know, and then I threw them on my dudes. So that was 500K per. So that took out my I had probably a 6 million, 7 million credit overflow.
Mm-hmm.
Totally cracked me open. And so, yeah, I'm running on fumes, man. And it's brutal because, like, I know since I was all in on Phoenix, I don't have any scoundrels. I have no way to steal money, brother. I can't steal credits, man.
So out of curiosity,
I can help you with that. We can help you with that. Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Well, out of curiosity, though, would you flip the script now, knowing what you know? Would you go back to the old school way of thought,
Nope.
where you'd go scoundrels
Nope.
first, or okay?
Absolutely not. And I would tell you why, because I value, well, and this is a month experience. You guys are doing, I think it's awesome that we're all talking from different perspectives. You know, Bad Dad, you're at 4 months. GrandePatrone, you're at 2 years. I'm at a month. So this is really cool dynamic. But if your question, if I went back a month ago, no way, because the resources I gain from crystals it's snowballing me. It really is, because this fleet store, I'm grabbing Ezra shards. I'm grabbing big shards. So opening up that fleet store was amazing. So there's no way I would sacrifice the progress I've made just for credits. Yeah, credits are a resource.
Now, not to cut you off and to kind of like.
No, you're good.
Swing it back, but Grande, what's your take? Like, so if you feel that you can help him, what's your advice? Like, new players are salivating at that tidbit.
So I think he's right to go for the Phoenix first, and I would tell everyone that arenas are the bread and butter. It's your premium currency, right, in the game, and that's where you get your your currency of crystals. Crystals can get you everything else, right? You could buy credits, right? You get credits when you farm stuff. You get credits when you do Galactic War. You get credits all the time, right? So you can have a high arena and get out of that. Would it be nice if he was able to every 7 to 11 days finish the final tier of the Scoundrel Battle? Absolutely. Is there a way that he can do it very soon? Yes, there's easily a way that he can do it very soon. And I think at some point you go as a free-to-play, low-end player, you go from, I got this one thing, and I have this one thing that is super awesome, and what you have to, I've got to keep my eye on the ball. You have to go to at some point saying, this is my top priority, but if I have anything left over, it goes here. So you go from lightning focus on one thing to this instead of this being AAA, best that we could possibly have, uber best, we're going to have it just slightly under the best and raise this up for a minimal amount so that we can make this better. And I think you do that by, especially whenever we look at scoundrels, we look at who would you pick next from the scoundrel team that can still give you that kind of Swiss Army knife like effect from that's on the scoundrel team. And I think this goes back to Mad Dad's video a little bit, and that would be, and the other thing is we need to get them out of multiple places so that we're not concentrating resources in one area too much, right? So the first one would be Boba Fett.
Yeah,
great
down.
ship.
Yeah,
great ship, great character, and the best scoundrel leader in the group. So you can use him in arena. You can use him. You're going to be. I still use his ship today. He's going to be great on dark side, and you can get his ship from one place. You can get his character shards from another, right? So you can go. You could go into the Cantina store for his character shards, and then you can go to the fleet store for his ship shards. So we've kind of split that up. The next character that I would look at would be Lando Calrissian after you're done with Hera and Ezra, because that would, once again, it's a low Cantina energy, and we farm that with the energy, not from the store with Cantina. The third one, which if you have a 7-star and you're in a guild, is going to be Han Solo, original raid Han. If you can get him up high enough, he would be the third character that you could use. The fourth character that I think that you could use would be, once you're done with Kanan from the arena store, from arena tokens, would be to look at Stormtrooper Han.
Now I know that, and I don't mean to interrupt on you, Grande, but so Curiel and I were talking about this a little bit earlier on. So would you prioritize Stormtrooper Han over Grand Moff Tarkin?
So, in a early arena shard, absolutely. And here's why I would do that. You can run a lower capital ship, and capital ships cost a ton of credits.
Yep, they do.
And so you can kind of do these in twos, right? Getting that last little bit to 7 stars, what takes a lot. You're just trying to get scoundrels to where you can do the last ability, right? Which means get them to unlock, get them unlocked, get them leveled up, get some gear on them, get some mods on them, try them out. Once you get to where, we're not even saying you have to get to the final tier of the credit heist. Let's just bump you up a couple of tiers in the credit heist, and then let's reevaluate your ships again so that we don't lose focus one way or another. You could let's say run Mace Windu, or you could run an Admiral Akbar. I know they come from the same place. They come from that same arena store, but you could run an Akbar lead for a long time in arena if you had to. I've run all 3 capital ships, and with all 3 capital ships at one point or another, I've taken rank 1 in arena.
Nice. That's something I can't even tote.
Yeah.
So while I would tell you that besides Chimera, Tarkin is next, you can get a long way with the other ones. And you can kind of use them as stepping stones to each other, if that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely. I think you bring a different element to it. I've been trying to give advice. He's a real life friend of mine, Curio, and so like I try and give him advice off of my experience, and my experience has been you want to get Tarkin up, especially now that crystals are a factor in the fleet arena.
Absolutely.
So you can compete at the top 20 level. You wanted to put a focus on, but I think that's a really interesting twist. I like that you're playing devil's advocate. Like it's really neat. And so Yeah, I mean, okay. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
derail the conversation.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The other thing that I've noticed from talking to quite a few players is, let's say there's 400,000 players in the game, right? And let's say there's 10,000 or so in every fleet arena. That would mean that there's 400, 500, 1,000, 2,000 different fleet arenas going on at the same time. When you have this many fleet arenas going on at the same time, the variation at the top could easily be different from yours than mine. So, for example, what I would say was a hard fleet for me to beat, you would say, well, I play a team just like that every day, and I don't have any trouble with them. And it's because well, this guy's been in the game longer. This guy focused in this area. This guy spent money. This guy's whatever kind of thing happened for whatever reason makes your fleet arena, even your regular arena, slightly different. And I could sort of tell this when I look at what someone's running and the mods that they're running in arena and the characters that they're running in arena. And I could say, okay, based on my personal experience, that guy would be, a top 10 guy, or that guy would hit rank 1 every day, or that guy would be around rank 30 or rank 40. And then I'm like, well, where is he? Or maybe that guy would be at 100. I don't know, on my particular arena. And then I'm like, well, that means that his is comparable to mine, is easier or harder, in my opinion, than mine is. A great example of this, and I've had this conversation both with good old Maurice and Sir Loki. In my opinion, Sir Loki's, and he streams with us on Reality Skewed Gamers, great friend of mine in my same guild, has great mods. I mean, amazing mods. He would easily stay in the top 5 or the top 10 all day long in my arena shard, but he drops in his.
By the way, we're going to go ahead and put a link down in the description about Sir Loki's YouTube channel if you guys haven't checked that out.
Super guy. Yeah, builds lightsabers.
Great stuff. That is so cool, by the way.
He would be better. So his shard is harder than mine. Let's take another player, another real dear friend, good old Maurice. He can run stuff that I couldn't even put in because I would drop so far. And so in my summation is that his arena server is statistically different than mine on the other spectrum, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely,
and I think, the same thing would be true for Curiel as well, versus you or versus anyone else giving him information.
Right. I mean, it's always going to be subject to change. I mean, yeah. Curiel, it looked like you had something to add there.
Yeah, it was what totally piggybacking on what you're saying. And I might be too new to know, but I think in my fleet arena, there's some people that are serious.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. They're literally like, they have 7-star Jedi Counselor for no reason. They have 7-star, they are like literally like, okay, I'm going all in on fleet, which I'm not going to begrudge them because it was actually not a bad idea because, I mean, they're getting what's the top 5? It's almost I think 400.
I think it's 400 for first, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 400 for first, and it kind of goes down from there. The other thing is that you have in order even just to reach 60, I mean, we keep thinking of high level elite sometimes, and we don't remember that for a player to even get to level 65, where they even have the opportunity to be to even play in ships, they've had to play for 3 or 4 or 5 months just to get there. That shows a level of dedication to have even gotten to that level. And so you've kind of, we've all played different mobile games, right? Where you turn it on and you look at it and you open it up and you play it for a day and you're like, this is not my thing. For you to get to level 65 in this game, this is kind of your thing.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, level 60, I mean, definitely there's a level of commitment there. Curiel is hitting there right now at what you said 1 month today, right?
Yeah, so kind of clocking it. It was basically I literally got my 30-day achievement yesterday. So I'm at 31 days. Yeah. So
So you've been playing for 4 weeks. So someone playing for that long, you've been playing for a month. That shows a level of commitment, right? And so you'll see some of those other players that have shown that same level of commitment to even be able to play that portion of the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess maybe as a higher strategy level question is, should I, if these guys are for real, because literally I'm just kind of looking at this guy. He literally has his resistance fighter at 7 stars. It's all the token ships that you get, the resistance fighter,
all of the Galactic War token ships, right?
Yeah. All the stuff that you get.
I think the ones that's just unlocked when you hit level 60, right?
Yeah. So when you go through the precursor, the fleet ship precursor. So the funny thing is they're obviously not going to be competitive in arena. They don't have a good leadership. They don't have anything going on here. But their freaking fleet squad is on point.
Right.
But my higher level strategy question is, am I gonna even try to fight these guys? Should I just stay at 20?
I think that's a fair question. I think that if you can sneak into the top 20, I think that's where your mindset should be at. I don't think you can put up a good fight if you're going for a long haul at this point. If you can get crystals, get crystals. If you can't, I don't think that you need to do anything other than put in your 5 fights a day, time it to where you put in at least 1 or 2 fights in reserve to where when you're getting close to your payout, then you go after it real hard. But other than that, I don't think that you put a huge emphasis on it. You're going for the long game. They're going for the short game. So right now, I think.
Well, and just as my resource as a free-to-play player, I can't split. I'm looking at it. I can't split my resources between squad and fleet. I have to choose one. And I think,
thankfully, you chose Phoenix, and they have ships.
Okay, so I might start kicking ass. I might start kicking ass when I get my Phoenix squad ships. So that might the math might change then.
Which fleet commander works best with them?
I would say the Akbar.
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
Do you understand the reason why?
All those damn assists, man.
It's a paper rock scissors kind of game, right?
Yeah.
So you got to say, if you're already leaning more towards one faction, then you might lean more towards that faction's capital ship, potentially in the beginning, where later you would lean another way based on having more resources.
But eventually your dividends will pay off, because no matter what, we all agree that Akbar does have a place, because no matter what, you need him for Chimera. So if you're going for the uber late game.
There we go.
Yeah.
And the same thing is about the Phoenix ships, right?
Yeah, so you need both Phoenix ships to make that happen, right? So if you're really going for Chimera, it's Akbar.
Got it. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Actually,
and if you're the first to get Chimera, potentially you're the first one to be in the right spot. Which is, so Phoenix gets you Tarkin, Phoenix gets you Chimera. With Tarkin and Chimera, you actually jump ahead of Tarkin, guys.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, he's kind of right. I hate to admit it, because I just released like a guy that was talking about how great Tarkin is, but
I think I gave you a constructive criticism on that, didn't I? A nice one?
You may have. But basically, in the grand scheme of things, I've noticed that personally in my own squad arena, when Chimera came out, there was a few select individuals that were able to pick up the Chimera at 5 stars. Nobody swinging big D's around and getting a 7-star. But when they got those 5 stars, those guys are at the head of the pack right now. And
it's game changing. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely is.
That's end game content.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't say 4 months in I'm at end game content.
No. I mean, Chimera and Tarkin is in game right now, is pretty darn close to cutting edge for ships.
Absolutely. All right, so we totally derailed there. Back to
what are you working on? Because we didn't say what you were working on.
Well, hold on. Before you start,
go ahead.
I love it when we derail, because not only am I picking your guys' brain and getting really good information, but I think as viewers watch this, they're like, "Holy crap, that's just like 15 minutes of awesome info
It was
right
a
there."
nugget. We have a little nugget over here.
We sharded out a lot of nuggets.
We did. We sharded
Yeah.
them out like freaking Biggs, Darklighter, and Chromium, and Bronziums.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Savage. My week, it was, well, I guess 2 weeks because we've been off for 2 weeks because Thanksgiving here in the States. Nothing really super exciting has happened other than I got R2 up to Gear 12 now. And I'm starting to work on getting all the med packs to get his first item of Gear 12, and I'm totally devoid of all guild points now, guild event points.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, sad panda. That was like my big crowning achievement, other than the fact that I was able to get up to 6 in the squad arena for one day and 10 on another day.
Nice.
So I'm making some strides there, but I felt that was kind of like a mental game that I played with the shard that I'm on. As soon as I geared up R2 to Gear 12, people kind of left me a little bit more alone than they had previously. I think that was the mental game of it. And then once they figured out, oh, well, it's just a Gear 12 R2, that wasn't that much different than his Gear 11 R2, I settled more back into the teens and 20s. But then I could fight back up into the teens and 10s. So it's not been a very exciting week other than the fact that I'm almost done with R2 completely, and then I can start working on my Thrawn from that point, which is unfortunately only sitting at Gear 9. So just bringing up the team that I'm ultimately gunning for, which is CLS, got the New Hope done still. And the Resistance, I'm still working on their abilities, but I got them all up to 80 now. They're just waiting for purple ability mats of all things. It's stupid. But I've got Finn already Zeta'd, so the team's almost ready to rock, but just not quite there yet because, well, purple ability mats. I don't know why it holds me back. No one ever complains about it. But for me, it's a struggle. Like, I'm like, oh!
I remember the struggle on purples, man. I remember the struggles vividly. I mean, it was probably 6 or 7 months in there where I struggled with purples. Maybe it may have been longer than that. It may have been more like 14 or 16 months.
Jeez.
Just to give you an idea.
That's kind of like a big difference there, Grande.
I'm telling you that the years, they just blend together back here. Okay, I will tell you that it does change. Just to give you an example of how it changes. And I've asked a couple of other guild members. I'm kind of on the low side of purples right now. I'm on the low side.
Okay.
Right now I'm sitting at 856 purples. So it does change. It does change. Eventually, you have enough purples.
I'm sure that they end up like the blues and greens at some point.
They do. You don't even want to know how many. I don't even know how many blues or greens I have because I can't even see the screen. So, yes, at some point, you're good.
Sure. Great. So that's pretty much my week in SWGOH.
Okay.
So let's kind of move on, and we've kind of already inadvertently segued into it. We're going to talk about our overarching topic, but before we actually get to that, let's go ahead and talk about the news this week. We don't like to spend a lot of time on the show on the news. We just like to touch base. New players aren't really too curious about, oh, what new character came out, what's going on, because it doesn't affect their gameplay yet. And so we're aware of that, and we want to just touch base. That way you guys are knowing what's going on in the community. But still, we ultimately aren't going to spend a whole ton of time talking about it. So first up in the news segment, we had EA's anniversary gifts that came out in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
For those of us that were level 85, we basically got somebody hooked up with a Zeta. Mine went to Finn. Weird.
Nice.
What did you guys do with your stuff?
Curio, I'm interested in this one.
Well, okay, so my package was 30 tier 3 ability mats. So
Oh,
I
the
didn't.
that's
purples.
right, because
Yeah.
you got different stuff because you're at a lower level.
Yeah,
I keep
yeah.
forgetting about that.
But I mean, it was still a boon. I mean, it was great
Yeah.
because, like, I don't think I would be because I'm completely abilitied out on my team right now. I
Okay.
don't think I would have been without the gift pack. I mean
Right.
that. I
That's
mean,
that's
yeah,
30 purples, right? That's
yeah,
nice.
it's pretty legit. So yeah, it was a big boon. All my credits went away. So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Good
Okay.
times. Well, Grande,
Well,
what'd you do with yours, brother?
I was really excited about 3 Chewy shards. I'm going to tell you that finally 7 starred my Chewy with those 3 shards. Yeah, I'm just kidding. The
Curio,
Chewy
you
shard,
missed out. You didn't get the 3 Chewy shards.
yeah, it's an 85. It's an 85 thing. It's a really old joke. Long time ago, they made a mistake and they gave us 30 Chewy shards, and Reddit went crazy. Everybody went crazy. I can't believe 30 Chewy shards. And so now sometimes for some of the veteran players, they kind of sneak in a little troll where they give us the 30 Chewy shards again, and so, or they give us 3 Chewy shards.
Wait, are
But
you telling me that Reddit went apeshit over something? What?
no, some people have a tendency to overreact a little bit. I just I just like playing with little characters with with lightsabers while I'm on the toilet. That's me. I don't know what everybody. I mean, it's not something to get that worked up over. I mean, and I could get worked up. I mean, we run 3 or 4 streams on YouTube about a mobile game. If anybody's gonna get worked up, it should be me, and I'm not worked up over it. No, but I actually, in anticipation for Territory Wars, I finally zated my Barris. That's what I did with it. I
Oh
had never
wow,
zated.
I would have thought that Barris would have been on your chopping block with
So
go ahead.
I spent a long time farming ships over farming Zetas, probably close to 7 months farming ships and fleet. So compared to my peers, I have fewer Zetas than they do.
I'm curious, how many Zetas do you have on your characters? Do you
I
know off the
think I
top of your head?
have, yeah, I think I could probably look it up. I think I have 7 or 8, whereas a lot of my peers, I would say, probably are pushing the 20 range on
It's almost
Zetas.
like when you say peers, you're meaning something else.
I mean my friends, my guild mates,
Yeah.
those type of people, right? I end up kind of on the lower end of that spectrum, I guess you would say. I mean 20, 25, 21, and I think I'm down at like 7 or 8. So
All right. So next up, let's start talking about dark side territory battles. That's in the news. Obviously, it was brand new this week. If you were fortunate enough to be above level 65, so we'll go ahead and we'll throw it over to GrandePatrone. Curio, I know you're not going to have a whole lot to
Yeah.
say about that
Right.
because you're 62, right?
Yeah, 62 and a half, man. I'll take you guys' tidbits here. Let's go.
All
all
right,
right.
so you got to add in that half. You're like, I'm 62 and a half. That's like what
Uh,
short girls do. They're like, I'm 5'2" and a half.
that's a
No,
day
it's
and a
not.
half. It's a
No,
day and a
it's
half of work, brother.
my
But
children, right? My children say, at a half, right?
Yeah, right.
You get over 20, you get over 21, that and a half doesn't really, like you don't meet somebody and go, I'm 22 and a half, but you meet an 11-year-old and they say that, right? You meet a
Right.
6-year-old and they say that.
all
It's all
right,
right.
brother. So I'll toss it over to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. All
Dark
right.
side territory battles. What's your read?
Lot of good. Couple things that could have been fixed. Couple of things that probably need to be tweaked and modified. I'm sure the devs will, take care of those things. Lessons learned, right, on some of that stuff. A little bit of timing, potentially some timing, in the United States, kind of issues that happened with it. Very hard content, definitely cutting edge content. Was very difficult for me on certain areas. Definitely showed me some weaknesses that I had on my dark side characters. I definitely focused more light side. Most of the arena metas, a lot of the ships we use, very light side dependent. We kind of pick and choose on those dark side characters for ships arena, and so for fleet arena. And so I noticed that I needed to not only gear and level those, But I will tell you that there's also a human aspect to it too. And here's what I mean is, if I haven't played a character a whole lot, I cannot start to anticipate what moves are coming up next, sequencing, what order to run them. It doesn't take very long to understand that stuff, but you have to have at least tried them out, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 times to understand what these abilities do. And
Absolutely. I found myself like going in with a 6-star snow trooper, and I was like, how do I use this guy? I totally know what you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go
absolutely.
ahead.
So there was some of that. There was some disappointment. There was some slight tweaks to whenever something was 3-starred, then players that maybe came in later in that 24-hour period were not able to play their combat missions. And I feel that the devs will probably make a tweak to that, which let those players that are a little bit, later around the globe and maybe were asleep or whatever, and whenever they wake up, then they can play those combat missions, and they're not locked out of that. It's new content. It's cutting-edge content, high-end, late game, cutting-edge players want to be able to actually play that new stuff and not be locked away from it because their guild has already finished a portion of it. I liked it, and it was very, very tough. But we did well. My guild, I think, got 43 stars in the Dark Side Territory battle.
That's sick on the first go-around.
41, maybe it was 41. Maybe it was 41 stars. We got 41, 42 stars, something like that. We probably dropped a star, too, based on not knowing those abilities. We will definitely do better. I'm sure the content gets tweaked. So maybe it's hard in the beginning and it kind of ramps down in the middle and then it ramps up, or however they want the kind of arc to go with that content. However the devs decide, but we will definitely do better next time. I know I will do better next time as far as knowing the abilities and focusing on it a little bit.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the devs actually come out and say that it came off a little bit harder than it was supposed to be originally?
Probably. Some of that content, whenever you look at it, you should be able to enter it with like a 3-star character. And, whenever I was playing through it with 7-star characters that were well modded, I was like, man, this either we got to change the description or we got to make this where somebody like Curiel, who comes in and is like, sweet, man, I finally unlocked, 5 bounty hunters, and I want to go in here and play them. And I'd like for him to have a little bit of success in the beginning of that. Not success at the end of it, but success at the beginning, because that would at least give him a little bit of experience. Have him have a, bathroom high five moment with himself, for the fact that he was able to, do well in something. Go back into his guild and type about how awesome it was that he got to go up against Wampas or whatever. So.
And I think you definitely hit the nail on the head. Even I was encountering that, and I consider myself a little bit seasoned. I don't consider myself an end game player by any stretch. So going into it, I found myself like having the mindset that I was letting down my guild because I was not able to compete
great point.
4 of 4.
Great point.
And that felt really disheartening because I was just in this mindset to where I was like, God, do I have to worry about my spot in the guild right now? I mean,
Wow.
my guild is a bunch of great guys. I can't stress that enough. We're doing a lot of content that I wasn't able to before I joined this guild. So I don't mean to like throw it off, but I kind of want to hear what you have to say on that, Grande.
When you play with guys for a while, some of these guys that I played with for 2 years. I mean, their names, their wife's name, if they live in Florida and they're a VP here, or they do this, or this guy's a truck driver, or he's a consultant or whatever. You get to know these people. You don't want to let them down. It's just like real life, right? If you played with them for that long, it's not. I was not worried about my spot, but I will tell you that it was more of a feeling that these people were counting on me, and I was not able to perform at my level of expectations, and so therefore you feel like you let somebody else down. And I think that's really where you were getting at. And nobody likes to feel like they let somebody down or they hit under their belt weight or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really think that my guild would kick me. I don't think I'm in that position because
Right.
I'm still doing
You're
other
still.
stuff.
Last time you checked, you were still there, right?
Right. So I don't think that's the case necessarily. Maybe that was an over dramatization, but I think that may be a reality for some players, especially new players coming into this.
Sure.
And a
Well,
lot of the time we're
I found
developing.
something I could contribute.
Oh,
Sure.
great, great.
So that, and we talked about this with Mist, was I'm telling you, I have a dread, I have a fear that these guys are carrying me, but because my guild, they're all 85s. I mean, literally, they have their alts in there, and their alts run. There's like 4 or 5 alts, and they run at the same level as I do. I'm dead weight. I'm just being honest. Like, I'm dead weight in their guild. GrandePatrone, are you worried that they're gonna make it so that they're kind of splitting hairs here? They're trying to make it so everybody's in a guild, but they're also making it right now to where you're not going to get in a guild unless you're 85 and you have 10 million, galaxy power. You're not going to get into a guild.
So I think we kind of need to break this up a little bit, right? Because
That's a lot to unpack.
So let's kind of break it down, right? So I think that there are different levels that guilds are at. There's also different perspectives that guilds have. There's also different fundamental understandings of what they consider to be somebody that's pulling their own weight, right? And I think it depends on where they're at. They may be happy because you are doing your 600, you're showing up to all the content, you're participating, you're engaged, and they have members that are not pulling their 600. Hashtag I did my 600, by the way. Go look that up on Twitter.
I've got proof. I've got proof.
Yeah. So, they're looking at it and going, are you better than an alt? Absolutely. Value add. Are you contributing in every possible way that you can? Absolutely. So when I look at a player, even at my end, we have a lot of players that are considerably low roster. They're free to they're free to play. They started a year later than I did, right? I mean, if somebody started a year later than I did, I can't hold it against them. And I sit there and I look at it, this guy is very active in our chats. This guy is, this guy always gets his stuff done on time. He does everything we ask him to do. He's very much into theory crafting, which ships, helping people do this. Maybe he's really good at ships. Maybe she's really good in arena. Maybe she's really good at mods, and trying to and help this person place mods in the most efficient way possible. Maybe they're just a good guild donator, right? Every time you go in, they donate and they try to help everybody out. Or maybe when everybody's down about something, maybe everybody's down because they realize, they did 32 stars and they could have done 36 if they had done this and that and the other thing differently. And they're like, well, it comes back again in 20 days, guys. We'll just knock it out of the park next time.
And I think that's a really good point to hit home on there, right? Because I was that guy championing in dark side territory battles. Everybody's like, this is way too hard of content. CG, what did you do? And kind of like I've talked about in my cadence on my channel is that I'm never a negative Nancy. I'm like, dude, we're going to do better next time. We know what to expect. CG is saying, hey, you know what? We're probably going to introduce some nerfs. All these things are working to actually go to that goal. And I think that's the mindset that every single player should have. And I think for the most part, a lot of players actually do that really well in this game. And that's something I give props to. They really don't become that negative troll. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I felt like that was one thing that really lifts me up about this game.
So, but once again, I've been in a bunch of different groups. We could go through the whole drama and saga about where I've been and how I've been there. But, and I brought a bunch of guys with me along the way, but, comes down to people and how you treat people and how people treat you. That's what a guild's about. Right. And so, And that's the same reason, the other thing too is they're probably looking at you going, this guy's not great today, but in 2 or 3 months, he's going to be really great. And if we're cool and we're nice with him now and we helping him out, that means in 2 or 3 months, he's going to be a great asset to our team.
Yeah, and Mad Dad and I have done the whole guild thing from previous games. Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was looking at it, and I hope I'm not too worried about it, but it's the numbers game. You guys are really giving me encouragement because it's not really a numbers game. It sounds like it is a people game. If you're active, if you're doing the work, they're gonna look for those kind of guild members.
I think there's
Same with WoW.
less elitists in this game than any other game I've ever played.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
The other thing too is that the rewards are very RNG. Let's look at territory battles, territory wars, dark side, light side. Basically you're looking at it and you're like, man, if we hit 31 stars, we're into the better prize boxes. If we're at 31 stars, but we're not at 36 stars, we're somewhere in that range. We're kind of close to the same prize boxes. I don't want to get rid of this guy. He's our friend, and he's not. And if we brought somebody else in, would they really get us to that? No, we need 6 of those guys.
Well, even that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not on that cutting edge that you're at, Grande, but oftentimes isn't the lower ranks just as competitive, if not better, of rewards than the top ranks?
Yeah, let's look at something a new player could equate to. Let's look at I was in a guild, great guild, bunch of the guys are here. It's one of our Dark Lords guilds. It's Dark Lords Omega. For a long time they had a player in there and he wanted screenshots of every one of your Rancor, your heroic Rancor rewards, and he tracked what everybody got. For months, probably 8 or 9 months, he tracked what everybody got. The guy in 17 or the guy in 13 or the guy at 32 got a full piece. The guy at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, they didn't get full pieces. The guy in the middle got a full piece.
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
So you're looking at it, and you're going, we could get a full piece and we're 22 stars. We could get a full piece. And now, over the long run, you do 700. Yeah, it's better to be in rank 1 and on the Rancor. But you do 1 or 2 or 3, or you're down. You've done 30. Show up, participate, put everything you can into it, and we'll go on down our way.
Nice.
All right.
I'm glad I could contribute a little bit there. Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
anyway, we got way off of territory wars. Dark side territory wars, or territory battles, didn't we? We got way off of that. 3 new characters. That was super sweet.
As Miss would say, squirrel. Yeah, no, totally. That's something we're kind of notorious for at this point. We start at point A and end up at point Z, and then sometime we get around to point B. Yep. So that's great. So dark side territory battles. I feel like I put in my 2 cents on it just as much as Grande has. You feel okay? Great. So territory wars. What is your read on all that, Grande? Obviously, again, Curio, I don't mean to bypass you on that, but it's something obviously you haven't been able to participate in. But
I'll just be a little fat boy over here, dude. Don't worry about me.
Dude, fly on the wall because this stuff is going to come to you in
it's golden, man.
A week.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's golden.
Not to mention,
Cheerio, we have you on here for eye candy. You didn't realize that? That's why you're here, buddy. All right.
Yeah, he didn't partake in the No Shave November. You still had one more day that you had to go, sir. Now you shaved. Now I'm looking like I'm some pubescent 13-year-old, and you look like okay, I see how it is.
All right.
So off topic, but back on territory wars.
I thought it was great, man. We started a little Discord. We got hooked up with a great guild out of kind of Central Europe. A bunch of the guild we were fighting, Starforge Jeddah. And we kind of got hooked up with them on Discord, started a little thing, made a couple rules as far as, hey, we're not going to cuss in here. And we just sat there and cannon foddered and made memes and said, all kinds of we were stereotypical Americans because most of our guild is American, even though we have a few Europeans, few Asians.
How's that going for you?
And we love it. It's great. But but it was hilarious to just kind of play around off of that dynamic, and then go in there. And of course, we were the first one. We put in all of our defensive squads. We said, hey, we're done. We're great. They're like, oh, we got a couple of hours left to go, and we'll have all of our defenses in. We're like, great. And we're like, all right, time to hash it out. And we got to the offensive side, and we got done with the offensive side first, and they're like, all of our dudes are just waking up, man, or they're just getting off, or whatever. So it's going to take us a couple hours. We're kind of slow, but once we get started, we get it rolling.
Europeans are fucking slow, man.
They were, but I got to tell you, they were hilarious about doing it. We made a lot of new friends. We loved it. It was really great.
That's cool.
And we got done, and we were both sitting there going, man, we should have put better teams on defense. Man, we should have, man, all of our guys didn't have to go quite so crazy on offense.
Hey, Grande, I don't mean to reverse you, but how did you meet up with them? Like, I know you said on Discord, but how did you let them know?
So, if you find it, if you know a guild, you could pretty much do a Google search for their name, and that guild will come up on Star Wars swgoh.gg. Also, big shout out to my buddy Urban Blaster. He's the one who came up with squagaga. That's because that's how you would say it, right? If you did it. So you search for them. We found them. You click on a couple of them. You can find their Discord name, type it in, friend them, being like, hey man, looks like we're going to war. Are you good with that? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, you guys want to get in on a channel together, and we can just kind of hash it out? And they're like, yeah, sounds great. Let's do it.
Dude, that actually sounds really fun. I'm glad you guys did that.
So that was probably the highlight to me. Being is that we both put everything in on defense. We both wiped out the offense. It means we're going to tie. Tomorrow we'll see what happens when we get rewards. See what happens for a tie. I'm not 100% sure exactly what happens, but could we both get first place? Could be we both get second place. We'll just have to see how that goes. But we are excited about it. We got to use a bunch of different squads. Reminded me a lot of a game mode that they don't have anymore called tournaments. As far as being able to say, because a win's a win. W in the W column's a W, right? So what's the lowest team I can put in and end up, 1v1 at the end and get that last little whack in, and I'm like, yeah, I nailed it. That was the perfect team to put in. I beat them, by just a little bit. But it was great fun. We're probably going to have to, put a couple of kind of what I like to call circuit breakers in the guild to make sure that players don't go quite so hard on offense. Again, our guild is a lot about trying to bring everybody along with us. The people who maybe can't play until later in the evening, people that are just waking up, they get to get in. The whole thing was done in about 2.5 hours. We had the whole we had completely cleared the other side of the map on offense.
Oh wow!
And so we said, I feel like that we and some of those people were very discouraged because they weren't, it's cutting edge content, brand new. They weren't able to play, and I was like, man, I'm really sorry. We should have anticipated it, but we didn't.
I'm curious, okay, so you said you have a lot of players from India. What's the time zone difference there?
So if you have a player that's in Asia, you're looking at about it's about if it's 12 noon here, it's 12 midnight there, right?
Yeah.
We have a couple of people that are Central Europe, which means they're 7 hours behind or ahead of us, right? So it's one. Right around the lunch hour is when their arena payouts are. So you got to be careful and make sure, hey, we don't want to schedule raids. They're in their arena payouts. You kind of have, if you have a guild that has a bunch of players from around the world, they kind of get consolidated in little slices, right? So you could say, okay, not Central Europe, not Great Britain. We don't want to do East Coast, and we don't want to do West Coast payouts. And then when we get back over, we don't want to do where the Australians are, and we don't want to do where the Japanese are. That tends to be kind of, so we need to hit those. We need to hit it in a different hour when most people are awake. But you kind of figure that out as you go, and the guild all works together to say, when you're going to run those raids. But the same thing's true whenever you do a content like Territory Wars. So we're going to put some of those circuit breakers in that say in 3 hours, you can only do 50 offensive banners. That means you can only win five times on offense. And then at the 6-hour mark, you can do another 50 banners. So that means if somebody comes in, let's say in the 9th hour or the 10th hour, they could do 150 banners. They can catch up to where the rest of us are. But to kind of break that up and say, so if somebody comes in, let's say it started right whenever they got on, or they went to work, or they just went to bed, and they slept for 8 hours and they got up, then they could get up, and while they're doing their morning routine, they could go ahead and win like 9, 10, 12, 14 battles, basically do a galactic war in the morning, and it would work for them. Similarly, let's say they were at work, they just got off, or they just got out of meetings, or whatever happened, or it was the end of the day, they drive home, they get home, they could do 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 battles and catch up and be at 150 with the rest of us whenever they had an opportunity to do it. We're just trying to find a system that works for us. And I'm not saying our system is going to work for every other guild, but our system will definitely work for, we're going to try doing a couple different experimentations.
Hold that thought for just a second. Curiel, your cam went out.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
There we go.
All right.
So for December, now we're looking at the calendar. The calendar just got posted a couple hours ago. So we haven't seen much as far as legendary events are concerned. The only thing I saw, I think, was Yoda. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, I believe that was right. It's only the first week, December 2nd to the 6th or something like that. Yeah, Yoda.
All right. So, I mean, I think there's probably going to be some shock value in there. We already know that Ray is coming this month.
Yeah, they were real clear in what's ahead, right? So,
well, the thing is I see on other YouTubers' content, a lot of people are really curious about CLS. Grande, do you have a Notre Dame's moment here? Do you think that it's going to come in December, or do you think we're going to have to wait until January?
When was the last CLS? Remember when it first came out?
If I was to speculate, I would say I think it was about 5 months.
Probably got another month. Be my guess.
Yeah.
I hate your face if you're right. I really do. I worked on my new home squad.
You can beat CLS without CLS, by the way. It is possible.
Yes, sir. But unfortunately, I feel like I would have a huge advantage if I had CLS on the arena shard that I'm in.
Yeah.
But okay, so anything else that we saw there? Obviously, we saw the return of the Night Sisters coming back. I was a little bit taken back by that because I thought it was going to be a once-a-month event, and probably they considered that it happened on October 31st first, or 31st first. That's good English. It happened on October 31st and extended into November 1st. That counted toward November, and I was hoping for another return of a Towson event in November, and I didn't see that. So as such, I was a little bit disheartened, but we're getting her back in December nonetheless. Anything else you guys want to add on that?
No. Hey, Chris, or Bad Dad, I'm gonna have to do a sign off, man. I gotta go. Let me.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I sign off?
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I understand. So let's go ahead. And is there anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. GrandePatrone, dude, super great beat, dude. I'm serious.
Absolutely, man.
You're
You too,
really
Kirill.
cool, man. I really appreciate it. I'll have to try to hook you up on Discord or try to get in contact with you, man. I really had fun tonight. So, yeah, Mad Dad, keep rocking it, man. We'll talk about ships some more, and then
I'm sorry you weren't around for the main topic. Again, you'll get a chance again in the future. So, Curiel is pretty much a continuing guest on this show. Pretty much expect to see him and his baby face, despite you not still taking part of the No Shave November.
Well, I'm a soldier, man. I'm in the rice fields, man. I'm fighting it right now. I am doing the new player experience. I am the new player. So
Okay.
There
Take
you
care,
go.
man.
I
You're a
really appreciate it,
savage.
buddy.
You have a great
Take
night.
care.
Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
guys.
out.
Bye, bud.
All right, so Kirill had to leave. Um, Unfortunate, I know we all love his baby face, but it's still me and Grande holding it down. And so we're going to talk about the last news topic of the week. We just got done with talking about things like dark side territory battles and territory wars, the calendar for December. So, Grande, what is your take on it? Like, do you expect that CG is going to come out with some more information shortly? Because the only legendary event we're seeing on there is Yoda.
The calendar is subject to change.
Absolutely, right?
I don't think we've ever seen a calendar on day one of the month that didn't change before the end of the month, right? It's just it's just part of it, man. Yeah. So yeah, it'll probably be way different. I mean, the what's ahead was saying Ray, and they didn't put that on the calendar, did they? So
No,
probably.
but I think we both agree that Ray's going to come out around the movie, right?
Oh yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So they got.
So
I mean, it's a movie month. It's Christmas. We know we got. We know we're gonna get some crystal deals. We know we're gonna get some other deals. We know they're probably gonna give us a bunch of stuff and say, happy holidays and everything else. We just don't know when. I mean,
well,
that would be their typical kind of MO, but we don't. And they like to give us surprises. I mean, it's Christmas. I mean, you like surprises, right? You like it whenever you get a gift under the tree. I mean, they want to save that for us. I mean, it's like Santa Claus, right? It's nice.
oh, absolutely. But that brings us to the point. Um, I haven't been around the game since last Christmas. What did you guys see last year?
So my guess is just a guess. My
No,
guess
no,
is
no, no. Though, what did you see last year? And
oh,
then
okay.
give me your
So
guess.
okay. So last year we got crystals at a percentage off, just like we did at the 2 year anniversary. Probably there'll be a couple of days in here where potentially we'll get some more gift kind of inbox messages, right? And who knows? They'll probably throw a couple of different events in the event table that we've kind of been looking for. It might be BB-8. It might be they might give us Thrawn again. They might give us Chimera again.
Are you talking about legendary events only, or can we expect maybe some double drops, perhaps?
Oh yeah, you'll definitely. I would say that whenever the crystals go on sale, you'll probably get double drops on every table for a couple days, maybe or something. I mean, they just they do something to kind of get you excited. A bunch of people are. It also gets new players excited, especially right around the movie time, right around Christmas time. A lot of people get new phones. A lot of people get new stuff. It's probably going to be on the splash page for Google Play and for the iTunes store, so you'll probably the App Store, so you'll probably see that a little bit. It'll just be something to say, hey, get excited about the game.
Sounds great. I mean, I hope there's more double drops because that last time I took advantage of it. Like,
Oh yeah,
hardcore. Like, you probably went hard on the veterans, right?
I did. I went very hard on the veterans, doing veteran Chewie and veteran Han. I like to call them the Viagra brothers, because they'd kind of be of the age where they might be needing that product. But yeah, they're definitely that's probably that's what a lot of people think that the new Ray that we're going to get, the new Jedi Ray or whatever, lightsaber Ray, whatever it is that they want to call her. That's what we're going to need for that.
Great.
Is what everybody thinks anyway. We'll just have to see how that goes.
Hope so. Uh, I think everybody's gearing toward that if they
Absolutely.
can.
Yeah, absolutely.
New players, maybe not so much, but we'll have
Yeah.
to see. So going on from there, um, we have to talk about the overarching theme of this week, ships. I'm curious, seasoned veteran of 2 years plus now. Where are you at with your ships? What is your starting lineup, and what is your backup? And we had some difference of opinions because
On your
earlier
last
I
video. Yep, on your
yes,
last video.
absolutely. I'm really curious your take on it. You said things like putting Scimitar as the backup in spot one.
Mhm.
I want to hear all that you have to say about that.
Okay, so my I run Chimera, 7-star Chimera. Then I run Vader's Advanced TIE. I run the First Order TIE Pilot. I run regular TIE Pilot. I run Biggs Darklighter, and I run Fives Unburned Starfighter as my starting lineup.
So it sounds like initial lineup besides Chimera were pretty much the same, right?
Agreed. Then
Okay.
then as my first reinforcement, I run Boba Fett. As my second reinforcement, I run Ghost, and as my or excuse me, Phantom 2. And as my third reinforcement, I run Ghost, and as my fourth reinforcement, I run Cassian's U-wing. So
Interesting. So,
so
okay,
here,
so basically the difference between you and I is you run Phantom, Ghost in your backup, and Cassian's U-Wing, where I run Biston and Scimitar and uh, Wedge.
Mhm.
So, go ahead. What is your take on Phantom and Ghost?
All right.
Like,
So I think
let's
we need.
start there.
So okay. So um, most of my ship's battles last less than a minute and a half. Most of my ship's battles, I do not ever get past Phantom 2. And I don't ever actually use the third reinforcement or the fourth reinforcement. So
Out of curiosity, do you get to your ultimate at that point then?
normally I'm at my ultimate. Yeah, normally I'm at that. But sometimes I actually win the battle before ultimates even happen. A lot of times the battle is over and I haven't even gone in and done an ultimate, whether it's on for any of the. I mean, back when I was running Tarkin, I would never get to his 1,000 ties ever. The battle would already be done. So and this is on offense. On defense, I mean it's pretty okay. I mean I fall a little bit. Some days are worse than others. Some days I'm in the sometimes I stay above 20. Sometimes I drop to 30. It just kind of depends on the day.
No, I
Um,
think that's great to actually talk about because defense just matters as much as offense in some cases. I mean, I know we're getting crystal payouts now, and that's super exciting, but ultimately, if you can't hold that position worth a crap, is it worth a crap?
um, I mean if the battles only take a minute and I do it or a minute and a half and I do the battle every 10 minutes, that means I can jump from 30, in an hour. So you do a couple at lunch, do a couple while you're waiting on cooldown in arena, just jump over and do a ships battle. You're waiting on cooldown for
Same
ships
thing I
battle,
do,
jump
totally.
over and do
Yeah.
arena, right? I mean, just get close in position while you're waiting on these cooldowns to go off. Um, since I don't get to those last two reinforcements, you might as well bring in some heavy hitters, right? So if I'm thinking everybody on my starting squad does target lock, my first reinforcement does AOE and does target lock. My second reinforcement does target lock. My third reinforcement works with my second reinforcement. My fourth reinforcement, which I never get to, it's just high galactic power. It's just high. It's a high powered fleet. Kind of boosts my fleet a little bit. Somebody's
So almost it's like a mental game, like you're
a
just trying
little
to
bit
say, don't attack me because I have this much power.
right. I'm not saying
Okay.
it's great. There's probably some better ships I could have put in that last spot, but it works. It works for me. It works well. I could have easily run Scimitar on that lineup. I could easily run, um, you know, um, maybe Kylo Ren shuttle. I've seen a bunch. There's a bunch of guys that are running the TIE Reaper on that line in that lineup on starting, and that's because it reduces turn meter on the capital ship, lets them get to their ultimate a little bit quicker. The ships are kind of squishy; they're not very tanky, which means if you get bad RNG, you're going to lose with that ship. And a lot of it on offense, a lot of it's about uh, kill order. It's about which ships you kill in what order. And so at that point, you're trying to limit the amount of RNG. I mean, any ship I always take out advanced TIE first. I mean, I always take out the advanced TIE fighter Vader ship first. Then I would go over to like a TIE Reaper, or I'll go over to like their first order TIE pilot, something like that. Kill those. I typically leave something like I'll probably leave the regular TIE until last. At that point I'll probably have to knock out one
Well,
of their
it's super
tanky
frustrating
ships.
just to be hitting it anyway, right?
It is frustrating, right?
Yeah.
So let's at least
RNG.
yeah. So let's at least leave it until it's the last thing I got. So I get 5 whacks and he only gets 1 whack, right? It makes me feel better. So plus, if you're running up against Tarkin and you miss, you just give Tarkin turn meter. So that's the
Right.
reason why. So let's just stay away from it. There have been plenty of other metas. There's lots of teams that do well. There's guys running Tarkins that get into my top 10. And even take rank 1. There's a guy or two still running a Mace Windu fleet. They get up there. I'd probably have to kind of scroll down until I got to an Akbar lead, but I bet you I'd find an Akbar lead in the top 50. If I scroll down far enough, I'd find somebody that's still running Akbar. You can work a fleet based on anything you want. There's actually not an Akbar at the moment in the top 50. But
Okay, well, I'm curious, like, from your perspective, so you would also say that the Chimera would be the best capital ship and then Tarkin number 2, or do you have a difference of opinion there?
I would probably say right now, given that we're in a target lock meta, the fact that most of the better ships are dark side ships, most of the better ships are Empire ships, it kind of lends to that Tarkin ability. Tarkin's ability is on a 5-turn cooldown. Chimera is on a 4-turn cooldown. That's one of the reasons why Chimera tends to work better and hold a little bit better on defense. I don't know. I think it's a good ship. A lot of guys run it. A lot of guys win with it. So I'd probably say that Tarkin's number 2. A lot of times too, put a lot of effort in the fleet commander, but it's not the only thing. And so you can. So
We
it's
agree,
so it's
definitely.
a lot of it depends on how powerful your ships are. The main thing is learn the abilities. If I misclick, if I hit the wrong ability at the wrong time, it can throw a whole match. And so learning what the abilities do and which buttons on your phone to push at what time is what makes the difference, and understanding how the AI is going to use those ships on defense and use them to your advantage.
Oh, definitely. How the defense reacts on AI is definitely a big part of it. I totally agree with you there.
So, for example, knowing when the AI is going to call in a reinforcement and when it's not, right? Understanding that if you beat a couple of characters down too far, it's going to bring in a reinforcement. But if you leave them up high, let it do its ability, and then go in. That you can kind of, trick the AI into doing something that it wouldn't normally do.
Absolutely. I think you totally hit the nail on the head. I think we see pretty much eye to eye, although we have a difference of opinion of the top 9 ships. I think that's really interesting, though. I'm glad to hear your side of it because it offers a different opinion, and that's so much more interesting than just hearing this is always the right way to do it and this is the wrong way to do it.
You
Only
could
do it my way.
You could easily put Scimitar in reinforcements. You could easily, if you were running a Mace fleet, if you were running an Akbar fleet, you could put that in first reinforcement spot. Part of the reason why you don't have to put Scimitar as first reinforcement, although it still works really well, is because ships come in under a Tarkin lead with retribution. So you don't have to do that, but Scimitar's a reverse taunt, which means that it's similar to R2-D2 in some ways, but it's also a target lock because ships that come in from reinforcements come in target lock. There's some great things about that, but you could easily make the argument for Wedge. You could make the argument for Poe Dameron's ship. You could make the argument for Gauntlet Starfighter. You could make the argument for Jedi Consular with Biggs under a Mace lead, under an Akbar lead, and I'd tell you it'd work out just fine. You could make an argument for Sunfac coming in off of reinforcements. You know, you could make an argument for Ty Reaper on the main starting lineup. Um, you know, maybe you saw that ship, you liked that ship, you went for that ship. You know, if you have a certain ship that you just went for because you thought it looked cool or you liked its animations, you can build a team around that. You know, I mean, I have a good friend that we always talk on Discord. I'm not a big fan of Geonosian Spy as a character or as a ship. He has proven that he likes that character and he likes that ship. He has been able to build a team around Geonosian Spy just because he particularly likes that character. I'm not saying everybody can do it, but if you're rocking a Gear 12 Geospy, you know, for whatever random reason you got up there, I got a guy that, you know, you could talk to and make it
I
happen.
think that's so cool. That's what I love about this game. I think that theory crafting it and just building around stuff that you like is so great. Like it gives you that freedom. Um, Back to topic though, I'm really curious. What is your take on the First Order Tie Fighter pilot, whatever the new one is, with
Special
the
forces.
unmasked? Yeah, there you go. With the unmasked Kylo Ren ship. Do you think they have a role to play in the fleet arena?
Oh, absolutely. I could easily see um, e- these ships doing very well. So I could easily see the TIE Silencer being really good. You know, the advanced TIE Fighter. You know, it seems good. You know, I like some of its abilities. You know, the jury's still out on that. You also can't make a full starting lineup yet of First Order, but since we got two First Order ships, you could easily see that in the coming months, you could potentially get a fourth ship or a fifth ship. You could potentially get a capital ship. It's First Order, end up with some kind of modified synergy.
Okay, and I don't mean to cut you off, but also I want to throw this out there because now that the Millennium Falcon is farmable, do you think that also has a role to play?
I mean, I'm farming the Millennium Falcon just because of from a collection standpoint. I'm never going to use the Millennium Falcon in a fleet. It's cool. It's iconic ship. It does not have the best abilities. I think it puts you at a disadvantage versus other ships in the arena. It's not what it would not be one of my top 9 or top 10 ships that I would be going for and trying to build a fleet around.
So, out of curiosity, aside from the fact that the Ghost gives you the Chimera, do you think that the Millennium Falcon is on the same pace because it has that same AOE, right? Like, I'm curious what the difference is that you find in the Ghost versus the Millennium Falcon.
Synergy with Phantom 2, I think helps out a lot. That's really, you know, you're able to protect Phantom better with Ghost, which Ghost is a better damage dealer, target lock, all those things. Being able to protect the target locker is important. The other reason is if you're getting Chimera, you kind of already have it. So it's one of those things where you're trying to, you know, we've kind of talked about this before. If you're trying to think of which characters or ships, which pieces in my deck give me the most utility, which ones look more like a Swiss Army knife. Because if I have a Swiss Army knife, it means I'm prepared. And so, you know, that gives me the ability to get Chimera. I can put it on and actually use it rather than just farm something for an event and then not use it.
I think that's really important. A lot of people overlook that fact. If I'm farming somebody in ships, I want them to have a dual purpose. That was something that I don't mean to be a self promoting whore here, but that I try to hit home in my recent video on ships is because if they don't serve a dual purpose, they probably don't belong in your lineup. Personally, at least from the new player perspective. Now, as a seasoned vet, maybe that's a little bit different because now you're just honing in on the absolute best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you come from that arena, and it's nice to still hear that you're still concerning yourself with, well, this belongs in this arena and this belongs in this arena, but I can combine the two to make this something like that's worth a crap. That
Resource management game. Even at a high level, it's still a resource management game.
That's really refreshing to hear. Um, so at this point, I feel like we've kind of tackled ships. I think that hopefully players have a better understanding about ships. And if you guys don't, I want to leave. I want you guys to leave comments down below about any questions you have about ships. GrandePatrone is a very active member in this community. He's always reaching out and trying to help people. I myself also, granted, I'm so much less knowledgeable than GrandePatrone, but more than happy to help you guys out with any of your questions as it pertains to ships. Normally, we would use this time to go ahead and field Twitter, Facebook, and Discord questions. Unfortunately, Curio left a little bit early and he had those questions. So we weren't able to access them today. So I just, again, wanted to thank GrandePatrone for coming on. Again, the YouTube channel is going to be linked down in the bottom. He has his own personal YouTube channel. He also is a part of the Reality Skewed Gamers stream. And to tune into their streams. It's just a riot. Like just being a part of just the chat and like the back and forth that you guys have is just so phenomenal. And I can't stress that enough. I don't mean to like gush over it, but I totally am. You guys are producing great content over there, and I hope to someday even be on close to your level. And I want you to go ahead and just give a shout out if you can, because
Yeah.
I cannot stress enough how great you guys are.
So I appreciate that. All the kind words. I will tell you, I learn from talking to other people. So I don't always come up with the best ideas. It's kind of you listen to other people. So whether you listen to a new player like Curio, you listen to yourself, Mad Dad, we can always learn something from each other. I will tell you, so Reality Skewed Gamers, we do 3 different streams. So the first stream we do is on Wednesday nights. We do those at 8 Eastern time. We start on the dot. That's basically all the news that's fit to for me to misread on the stream. That's going to be everything that's happened in the game in the week, but in the week past. That's going to be my opinion, Infinity, Sir Loki's, Ranger J 1999s. We're going to go through it. We're going to try to dissect it, try to look at it from a couple different perspectives, answer questions, Twitter, Discord, anything like that. We want to answer every question that gets asked in that stream. We do it all live. So if you say something, we will definitely see it. The other one that we do is on Saturday mornings. We do another stream called Jedi Academy. We're going to have multiple game changers on that. We're going to have Remon, Warrior. We sometimes have we have Darth Bella. We have a whole host of people that we want to talk about, and that's just to kind of broaden our perspective on what is both our perspective and the viewer's perspective on this game and how it works, and for you to get more people involved and get more. If you get that kind of a slice of all the people at one time, a lot of times we don't agree. Somebody will think something's great. Somebody else will think something's not so great. It's always good to have that discussion. And then on Saturday evenings, we do another stream, and that's more we just kind of let loose, let our hair hang out, drink a beer too. We do a lot of Mad Libs. We just kind of have fun. We talk about the game. Normally, we save a bunch of Galactic Wars, run those on stream. We do, whatever the content is of the day. We save that all for the stream and then run that then. Usually, we'll tell somebody, hey, why'd you use this ability over that ability right there? We have just kind of a great time on Saturday nights. But definitely come look Reality Skewed Gamers. You can pretty much type Reality Skewed Gamers anywhere onto anything in any search engine, anywhere on the planet, and you'll find us. I do have my own channel. Typically, I just run little arena videos, run little mod videos, stuff like that, just whenever I have a few spare minutes. But the majority of our content is at Reality Skewed Gamers. Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Really want to thank Curio. Super glad that we were able to do this, and hopefully everybody was able to learn something from it.
Yeah, and I definitely, again, want to extend my sincerest thanks. Grande, it was great having you on. You're a fountain of knowledge, and I've expressed this on more than one occasion. Everything that you're saying is just spot on, and it's everything that we as new players are trying to get to. So we would like to go ahead and extend an invite for you to come back on anytime that you
Absolutely.
want.
Yeah, it's great.
And I hope that you take that up. And so from Mad Dad, GrandePatrone, and Curio, who unfortunately couldn't be here right now, we'll see you guys in game.
The power of the dark side.